Hello, this is Sele1 with a new video review, and today I bring you the Revoltech Series EX, the Evangelion Production Model 8+2, manufactured by Kaiyodo on its line Revoltech and sold exclusively in the Evangelion store in Tokyo 1, which is just Tokyo. And okay, so this is a limited edition figure that, as I just said, can only be found in the Evangelion store at Tokyo. It was made to commemorate the second anniversary of the store, and well, it was released. It was the last of Evangelion Q figures to be released, and it's the second to last of the Revoltech that has been released. There is a special edition Eva Unit 4 that I haven't got my hands on. It's kind of hard to get, but okay. So this Eva unit is from the Evangelion Final trailer that appears at the end of Evangelion Q. It is, as you can see, something really interesting. It is basically half of Evangelion Unit 8 and half of Evangelion Unit 2 just glued together. I'm going to go into more details about theories about this, how this unit comes to be, or will come to be, is going to be. How do you conjugate that? Okay, well, whatever. The thing is, well, it has the usual box for the Evangelion Evolution series, the one from Evangelion Q, the one that doesn't have the flipbook cover. It has, like all other EVAs, an illustration tinted in red on the side, and a bunch of action poses on the back. So let's open it. I actually have I've had this figure for quite a long time. I received it about the same time that I did the Wonder review, but only up until today do I have time for reviews. So let's open it so that you can see it now. So here we have the figure out of the box, and well, even for limited editions usually have a lot more of quality control than regular edition figures, and this is certainly not the exception. Most of the figure appears to be molded in red plastic, and all of the pink parts seem to have been painted over, as to make sure that they wouldn't end up with different shades of pink on the paint and on the plastic. So it's an interesting approach, but well, I think the legs and the arms are what is actually molded in pink, and the rest seems to be molded red. At least the torso seems to be molded red and then painted over in pink. Well, the articulation on this EVA is the same that Evangelion Unit 8 Gamma and Unit 2 Gamma and Unit 8 Beta have. It basically has the same body model as those units did. The only difference is, of course, the paint and the head, which is what they have been doing all these years, simply swapping heads and changing color of the body. But I'm going to review them real quick. There's an articulation on the shoulder. There is a tiny Revoltech joint on the pylon that allows it to twist and move a bit. An articulation on the elbow. The articulation on the wrist is achieved via a peg that inserts into the forearm, and there is a Revoltech joint here on the torso. There is one articulation on the neck. Well, there are two. One that allows the neck to move, and one that allows on the upper and the lower part of the neck, just for short. There's a Revoltech joint on the hip. There is one on the knee, and there is a tiny articulation here on the ankle. And well, this figure does not have any rubber parts. I don't remember if EVA Unit 8 or Unit 2 had one of those. But this figure is entirely made of plastic. I don't know if it is PVC or ABS, but there is no rubber, which is interesting because they eventually tend to crack or the paint starts to chip on them. Not that it has happened to any of my figures, but I've known that certain people has that problem. Now this is the close-up of the head, and you can see that it's just literally Evangelion Unit, half of Evangelion Unit 2 face stitched to half of Evangelion 8's face. It's an interesting approach, but it creates some issues that I don't know if are merely aesthetic or if they just wanted to go with it, because for example the chin of Evangelion Unit 2 is far longer than that of Evangelion Unit 8. So you can see in this side that part of the chin of Evangelion Unit 2 goes further down in this side of the face. And if you go to this side of the face, you'll see that part of Evangelion 8's face actually goes way back to the back of the head. So, well, I don't know what to think of that. I mean, it's a really cool and interesting idea. Another thing that I've noticed is that it has the Unit 2 side has a metallic jaw that it had an Evangelion Q after it was fixed, like for the 8th time or something like that. But you can see here there are no paint smudges on the torso. That is the painted part, well, just a bit there on the pink side of the hip. The rest appears to be molded in the color. But overall, the quality of figure is really good. Usually with these figures, they, as I said, they have a better quality control because they are produced in lesser numbers. You can see that they even have like 1, 2, 3, 4 lines, different color lines on the bicep area. And on this EVA Unit 2, the pen, no, what shape is that? This thing here on the shoulder is actually this aqua green, bluish green color that is the color that is seen on the film. On the Evangelion Gamma figure, it was painted as in red and green like all the other EVA figures, but it was this color, or at least I think it was this color, and that they messed that part up. But anyways, now this figure comes with relatively few extras, and most of them were recycled from other of the Evangelion figures. We have the smashing ground effect. It comes with the standard Revoltech base, which is B-shaped base and one connector with a Revoltech joint, and one V-shaped connector with another Revoltech joint. So yeah, this is the last of the EVA figures that comes with one of these bases. I think that the new Evangelion Unit 4 comes with a different one. As for the extras, it comes with the 80 field effect that we first saw with Evangelion Unit 8, I think it was. It also comes with its own tiny base, which is simply a transparent shaft to put it in, and with one of the RS hoppers, which is, if I recall correctly, was one of the, yes, it was one of the robot thingies that were protecting Evangelion Unit 13, because it apparently was incapable of making its own 80 field. So to use it, all you have to do is put the the 80 field. The 80 field has a peg in one side. You have to assemble it like this. You put the long transparent rod on one side of the RS hopper, then the 80 field will go in a peg on the front of the RS hopper, and in the lower side you have to put one of the Revoltech bases, or at the very least the smashing ground effect. I think it fits, but yeah, it does. So that's a way to use one of these. If you want to pose your figures on your desk or something, it's good for that. Also with this EVA comes one of the extra stands, which you plug on the back of the EVA, and it's some type of It helps the EVA stand because normally you would use the umbilical cable of the figure to help it stand without a base, but if you want something less conspicuous, there's nothing inconspicuous about this thing, but you just put it and help it stand. But for more dynamic poses, you will either need the Revoltech base or one like the one I'm using over here. But well, the only weapon that comes with this EVA is also one of the most I'll get over here. There you go. It's the Morocco Exterminate sword, or I think that is how it is called. It was originally seen in a video game, and several Evangelion figures have come with swords like this one. Well, swords in any case, but this is the first time that this design is used. It is about 2/3 the height of the EVA, and it is the sword the EVA unit is seen with in the Evangelion Final preview. It doesn't have any movable parts. The hands of the EVA attach perfectly to the side. I'm going to show you in a while. But anyways, this is the only weapon that comes with this EVA. Now this figure comes with 8 hands. It comes with fist hands, like these ones. It comes with running hands. It comes with gun holding hands, even though this figure doesn't have any guns, but it's nice because that way you can take the gun of other figure and use it with this. And it comes with 2 sword wielding hands. Now, important notice. Although they appear to be symmetrical and that you can put the sword on any of the hands, apparently there are 2 grips on the sword. One that is here on the left hand of the figure, and one that is on the right. And it appears that the sword can be only held on that particular position by each of the hands. That is, the front grip, the one closest to the blade, can be only held by the right hand, and the one the furthest from the blade can be only held by the left hand, the EVA Unit 2 hand. It is important to notice this because the Evangelion Unit 2 hand has a closer grip on its fingers, and you cannot force it into the Evangelion Unit 8 grip. So if you try, like I just did, you are going to start scrapping the paint, which I just did. So it's important that you notice this, because otherwise you're going to damage your figure. And it is something that I think is, it's implicitly stated in the figures. I only noticed now that each of the hands is seen holding only one of the grips of the sword. But as far as I can tell in the box, there is no direct information regarding that, and if there is, it is in Japanese and I can read it. So, well, seeing closer the picture of the hands and the box, it seems that there is a very small difference. Well, there is a difference, but the fact is that it's very hard to notice. Now, so that you don't lose the hands or the RS hopper, this figure comes with a rubber container. Like so many other figures, it also has a space for the rubber container on the box itself. So you don't have to be storing the box somewhere else. It happens to me a lot. I have like 2 or 3 rubber containers from the last Evangelion figures, and I always have to open to see what figures' hands are in there, because since they're orange, I really can't see inside. But well, that would be all for the extras and all the thingies that comes with this figure. So remember, EVA Unit 8 hand goes on the front grip, and EVA Unit 2 grip goes on the back. Now, one thing I forgot to mention about the Evangelion Unit 8 side of the head is that it now has the eyes painted instead of having it made of this clear plastic like the past releases of Eva Unit 8. The clear eyes provided a cool effect, but only if light was shining on top of them properly in the right angle and whatever. It was much more effective with Evangelion Mark 9 or the Evangelion Evolution Unit 0, and even with the Mark 6 release, because since the eyes of Unit 8 are sunken into the head, it's very hard for light to shine on them. Whilst on all the other Eva, since the glass or the eyes or the visor in the case of Mark 6 are protruding, light can easily scatter inside of them and making them look more interesting than those of the past Unit 8 models. So it was a nice improvement. Now, as for discussion on why the Eva looks like this, well, many people have pointed out that Evangelion Unit 2 is damaged beyond all repair at the end of Evangelion Q when it self-destructs while destroying the Mark 9 that was piloted by the clone of Rey, and that the only Eva that is complete enough to make this Evangelion unit was Evangelion Unit 8, which only took damage on its hand and feet when it extracted the entry plug when it extracted the entry plug of Evangelion Unit 13. Sorry, and well, it appears that Willie had no resources. Well, it's obvious that they don't have as many resources as Nerve, because we see many times Asuka with the patched suit and Evangelion. The construction of all the things used by these Evas appears to be kind of improvised and made on the run, but always appears to be working. So my theory is that they needed some spare parts for Evangelion Unit 8, or at least for its head, which is strange because the head was complete, and they simply stitched half of Evangelion Unit 8 too. Another idea I have is that Willie took a page out of Nerf's book and made this Eva a dual piloted Eva of some sort. It is, as far as I know, it was something that they had been, an idea that they have since the production of Evangelion 2.0, the idea of an Eva piloted by two pilots, but they would be on the same entry plug instead of on two different ones like we see in Evangelion 13 in the film. So it's interesting if this Eva goes all the way into the final stage of Evangelion Final, because we know that sometimes this idea, oh, let's do this, and they put it in the trailer and they say, well, this idea sucked, so forget about it, let's pretend it never existed. But I can only imagine the mess that is going to be that entry plug with Mari and Asuka fighting on top of it, on inside of the Eva, like arguing who's going to hold the sword. But anyways, even if they only needed the head of the Eva unit and the spinal cord of the Eva of Unit 2 appeared to be mostly complete, I guess that even if only the head of the Eva is what is actually what remains of Eva Unit 2, I believe that Asuka would have argued with Willie about painting half of the Eva unit red, even though most of it is Unit 8. But anyways, it's my idea. I really don't know if that will ever make it into the final film, or if the final film is ever going to come out. But, well, it's an interesting concept. And I'm going to say it looks really cool, the idea of half an Eva and half an Eva. But anyways, this was Cele1 making a new video review, the Evangelion Production Model 8+2. Why is it production model? They are not producing any more Evas. Well, anyways, it was sculpted by Katsuhisa Yamaguchi and released on its line Revoltech, manufactured by Kaiyodo. It's a limited edition for the second anniversary of the Evangelion store in Tokyo. So, if you want to try to find this figure, I'd recommend Mandrake. I bought mine there. Don't try to search for it on eBay because it's way too expensive. This one goes for about, I think I bought mine for about 5,000 yen, between 5 and 6. I don't remember properly. It was a couple of months ago. But anyway, I recommend this figure if you really like this Eva, because many people seem to like it a lot. Then yeah, go for it. Otherwise, you're going to have to assemble 2 Van Dyke kits and put half and half of them. But yep. Anyway, thanks for watching.